Hello, my friends on YouTube. Today is Mother's Day, May 8th, Sunday, May 8th, 2022. Happy Mother's Day for all mothers and for all grandmothers, the women who raised up generation. We wish them the best on that day. And today also, last week Ramadan was still going on. And at the end of Ramadan, Muslims celebrate, and therefore we wish each and every Muslim happiness and goodness and all the best. Somebody may ask, but you speak against Islam. Yes, I speak against Islam, but really, I have no problem with the Muslim. In my opinion, the Muslim is actually deceived by the leaders and by the religious authority. So, in my opinion, I see Muslim people as victims of what they have gone through. So, today's video is there a difference between the Muslim and the Islamist? Because oftentimes we hear that there's difference between the two. The Muslim is the religion of peace, has nothing to do with the violence and so on and so forth. Whereas when something happened from a Muslim person, then they say he is Islamist. He doesn't really reflect, he doesn't represent Islam or reflect Islam or reflect the goodness in Islam. We're going to look at that. Okay, now that Ramadan had passed, so there is relative peace or quietness rather. And the reason is in Ramadan, Muslim people go a lot to the mosque. And once you go to the mosque, you are actually subjected to a lot of stuff. I was never into mosques, but once I started to examine this teaching and this ideology, it is, yeah, you can see it when, especially like in Al-Aqsa Mosque in Israel, the young people come after prayer. You're supposed to have prayed. Normally, what I know and what I have seen, if you are Buddhist, Hindu, Christian, Jewish, any religion other than those who go to the mosque, whether they are Muslim Sunni or Muslim Shiite or Muslim whatever, all of them, they come out with peace in their heart, and they are happy to see their friends and their companions of faith, let's say, and they go home. Okay. Even if you look at it as a social gathering, there is nothing wrong with it. Except, and depends on the situation. You see the people coming out of Al-Aqsa Mosque, all of them have stones in their pockets and in their hands, and they start throwing it at the Israelis. I'm not saying who's right and who's wrong, but I'm talking from faith point of view. It is the only faith that you go out probably less calm, in calmer situation, and you come out charged with anger, hate, and you want to kill somebody. Does that have anything to do with the teaching? Or these are Islamists? Have nothing to do with Islam. Three things happened. I would like to examine them to find out whether these have something to do with Islam or not. In the BBC Arabic, there is actually now a dispute on the mountain of Singar. That mountain is actually the place where the Yazidis, the people whom ISIS attacked when they took over Iraq and Syria. They attacked this mountain because it belonged to the Yazidi people, whom I really don't know much about their faith or religion, but whatever it may be, because they are not Muslim, and because they are not Muslim violent like ISIS, men ought to be killed, boys ought to be taken as captive, girls ought to be taken as sex slaves. I made a video before about a girl. Maybe I'll put the video about this girl in the description box. And this girl was from that mountain. Now they are actually, like, they are starting to fight about this mountain again. They are not letting the people live in peace. They can't. And these are people, they are really vulnerable, and they are killing them. So there was one girl who have been taken captive, and she was 14 years old. A child, living with her parents, going to school, doing the things 14 years old do. They came to her village. They killed her father, her brothers, took her mother who knows where, and she also was taken as a sex slave. And a 50 years old, I think he looked to me about 50 years old animal took her. She is his sex slave now. Actually, I'm sorry, that's an insult to animals. She is his sex slave now. And he did whatever he wanted to do with this young girl, 14 years old. And again, this actually reminds me of an incident of a young lady, Jewish young lady. I spoke about her before, the rape of Safiya bint Huyai in my page. You can go back and watch that video. The leader of this sick-hearted people gave an order to slaughter all the men of her tribe. I'm not saying these people surrendered. They were not fighting. They put their swords down. They didn't want to fight. He said, no, fight or not, slaughter all the men. Between 600 to 900 men were slaughtered in one day. And then he took the young boys as slaves. They can work, do something. The women, they were taking 6 slaves. They also do something. And in the very same day, on the way back, he raped the leader of the gang, raped the young girl. She was a new bride. He ordered a tent to be erected for him so he can have his time with her. And the many religious leaders, they tell you, oh, but you see, she loved him. I mean, for any human being with even half brain in his head, or even a quarter of a brain, in his head, or even his IQ in the digits, single digit. After you kill my father, my brother, and you take my mother as sex slave, you take my sister-in-law as sex slave, you kill all the tribes, the men of the tribe, and you take the boys to be your slaves and the girls for your sexual pleasure, practically. Any woman in her right mind, even if her IQ is in the single digit, will be in the mood to actually have sexual relationship with anyone. And in any case, in Islam, there is a period of waiting. Let's say a widow or a woman was taken a sex slave. You should wait for at least 40 days so she can go through the cycle to make sure that she is not pregnant. So in case if she gets pregnant, you know that it was not from the previous husband whom you killed. You know that this is yours. But the leader of this gang didn't care. I mean, he is the one who put that law. He didn't care much for it. Get that pretty girl for me. At least Safiya bint Huyay was 18. The animal of ISIS took the 14, but his boss also took a young girl, 9 years old, and he violated her practically. Excuse me. Okay. This animal took the 14 years old and violated her. She managed to escape after 3 months, and later on, when ISIS was defeated, this guy himself was captured, and she was brought to meet him face to face. And she was asking him, I am the age of your children or younger. You didn't have any bang of conscience or any human in you? As she is facing him. And he was like broken. He couldn't even answer. That means if I'm doing something right, let's say somebody accused me that I eat a piece of bread and butter, and tell me, you ate bread and butter? Yes, I did. Yes. Why this guy, I'm going to put his video in the description box, why he couldn't raise up his head to actually answer this young girl for what happened? Because he couldn't. Something deep in our hearts, it resonates. Even if there is no 10 commandments and there is no religion, in your mind, you feel and know what's right, what's wrong, and to do that, that's very wrong. But his boss told him it's okay. Do it. Do it. So he ignored his humanity and his conscience and followed that gangster. So now, after all that pain that these people of this area in this mountain have gone through, once again, the trouble is starting. But at least now they started to organize themselves as a militia, and they have something to defend themselves. They have weapon to defend themselves with. They are not just a sitting duck. That's number one. And we would that's why my question about this video. Is there a difference between Islam and Islamist? Because this guy who raped that young girl, he had an example before him telling him that this was okay. So are these two people, the one from the past who started that nonsense is an Islamist, and the person who took the 14 years also an Islamist, or they are both Muslim? Somebody from the scholars have to answer to us, and to the Yazidi people who have been misused like this, and many others throughout history, whether the atrocity it has been done in North Africa with Amazighi, and Egypt, and Syria, Iraq. Okay, somebody has to take responsibility and apologize at least, and stop making things looks like, oh, these have nothing to do with this, with the religion of Islam. Stop that. Take responsibility. The second thing that it happened also, this all, they don't tell you who's doing that. They tell you just unrest in Singar, in the Mount of Singar, and in Egypt, in the Sinai Desert. There are, because whoever knows the Sinai Desert, really there is no fresh water. So to get fresh water, it has to be from underground. And there was a station pumping water for the people who live in the area from underground, protected by military personnel. And some people, they must be Buddhist. They must be Buddhist. They came and they actually attacked that station. They killed 10 soldiers and 1 officer. And they don't tell us if they were Buddhist. They might be Jews, or maybe Greek Orthodox coming from Greece to attack the Egyptian army in the Sinai Desert. And the media, unfortunately, including the Western media, really, I'm sorry, but the Western media and it's all fake news now. They all repeat the same nonsense. It's like a line. All of them, they read it. So free media is a nonsense. And that's in the West. Imagine in the Arab countries. It's a joke. Okay. The third incident, Israel. 2 Palestinians, and I know Israel, there are Christian Palestinians and there are Muslim Palestinians. But the media report 2 Palestinians, and they don't even say terrorist. They went out on the street with an axe and knife, hitting people with the axe and slashing their throat with the knife, killing 3 innocent civilians on the street. And they don't tell us, because these have nothing to do with Islam. These are Islamists. Okay, I'm ignorant and I don't know the difference between Muslim and Islamist. And if I come from that region and I don't know, so many millions, probably billions around the world don't know the difference between a Muslim and an Islamist. Can a respected Muslim scholar come out and explain to us if there is a difference between Muslim and an Islamist? I will appreciate that very much. Or if he wants to debate it, let me know. So at the end, the media, also the social media, unfortunately. Like here, I have to be very careful mentioning names. But when I say that gangster who came 1400 years ago, it's clear who this idiot was. Okay? I have no respect for him. Okay? I can call him an idiot. And you can too. Okay? He opened the door for all this garbage. Okay. That is basically my main message, that the media and the Islamist, or anyway, call it whatever you want to call it. I don't know if this is the oil money supplying the media, BBC, CNN, and all that have been bought. Because if you compare them, they actually always saying the same thing. The same thing. What's the point having so many news stations if you are all reporting the same thing in the same manner? Or, is it because you've been bought, or you don't have the guts to stand up and say who these people really are? What is it? We need somebody also from these fake news come out and explain why. Why you don't say when a terrorist attack, you say terrorist people attack in Belgium or in France or in England, and you don't tell us whether they are Buddhist, Hindus, Muslim, Jewish. We need to know. People will be more interested to know. But you don't. You're supposed to report the story. So that's also a question for the media. At the end, I would like to offer my respect and my gratitude to a lady. Her name is Rita Shilimon Christensen. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correct. And what she did, she wrote to me in Arabic in the comment. It's actually, it's kind of a prayer. And to me, this is like the Purple Heart medal. I respect that, and I have something to say. This is an honor for me, because it means I am recognized by a Christian woman. I can tell from her name, and her attitude towards me is not like I'm her enemy, and she's rather offering her respect, and she is hoping that many people like me can talk to inform the public about the garbage that came to us 1400 years ago. And my take on that, I hope that each person from an Islamic background, whether you believe in Islam, if you believe in Islam, you're really still too far. But unless each Muslim have a Christian or a Jewish person pray for them, or see them that they are standing for righteousness, you are not, I don't want to say what you are really, but you are not free. You are free when the people whom you abused wish you the best. Even though I'm not Muslim and I was never into Islam, but my ancestors are. Some of them. Of course, some of my ancestors are Egyptian, but the blood got mixed. So the Egyptian have, unfortunately, some invaders' blood. So everyone has to receive this as a gift from the people that we have abused. Concerning India, people from Pakistan, Bangladesh, and the Muslim living in India on your own, you should recognize that, and you should actually ask forgiveness from the Indian people for what the atrocity that you have committed. The Pakistani Muslim who live in Pakistan and Bangladesh, and those who are still in India, you are the descendant of the invaders whom killed men and took their women, and they violated them, and they conceived your lineage. You have to understand that. We thank you very much. We hope to hear from you.